You got the email on Tuesday afternoon. Someone you respect, someone whose opinion you don't take lightly, is asking you to keynote at their conference on your subject, the thing you've spent years doing, studying, and living. And your first thought isn't excitement. It's, why me? Did they really mean me? You start mentally building the case against yourself. You think of 3 people who know this topic better. You wonder if they accidentally emailed the wrong person. You spend more energy talking yourself out of deserving the opportunity than you spend preparing for it. But you say yes, and you show up, and you kill it. And on the drive home, you're already building the case for why the next one will be the time they finally figure it out. If any part of that felt uncomfortably familiar, this episode's for you. Today, we're breaking down imposter syndrome, what imposter syndrome is, what the research says about it, and 3 ways to flip imposter syndrome from a source of dread to a signal that you're growing. Imposter syndrome is the internal experience of feeling like a fraud despite clear, objective evidence that you're not one. You have the credentials, you have the track record, people keep choosing you, and yet some part of your brain is convinced it's only a matter of time before everyone figures out you've been faking it. It shows up when you get prompted and you feel like you don't belong in the room, when someone calls you an expert and you think, if they only knew. Researchers named it in 1978, and the first thing they noticed stopped them cold. It wasn't showing up in people who were struggling. It was showing up almost exclusively in people who were winning. Before we get into 3 ways to flip imposter syndrome for yourself, let's look at what the research says. A 1978 study published in Psychotherapy, Theory, Research, and Practice titled The Imposter Phenomenon in High-Achieving Women, Dynamics and Therapeutic Intervention was the paper that named this experience. Researchers found the phenomenon appeared most intensely in high-achieving people, those with real accomplishments, real recognition, real results, who still couldn't shake the belief that they had fooled everyone around them. The feeling wasn't a sign of incompetence. It was almost a calling card that they were completely competent. A 2022 study published in the Academy of Management journal titled The Imposter Phenomenon Revisited, examining the relationship between workplace imposter thoughts and interpersonal effectiveness at work, took a harder look at what imposter thoughts actually do to people. Across 4 studies involving more than 3,600 participants, surveys, video data, controlled experiments, the researchers found something that most people don't expect. Employees who experienced imposter thoughts more frequently were rated as more interpersonally effective by the people around them, not less, more. The reason? Feeling uncertain about whether you belong makes you pay closer attention to the people in the room. You ask better questions, you listen harder, you're more tuned in, and that reads as connection, competence, and warmth. One part of the study tracked physicians in training on a recorded video. The ones who reported more imposter thoughts showed more eye contact, more open body language, more nodding. Patients rated them higher, not despite the doubt, but because of what the doubt was making them do. The researchers also noted something of importance. Imposter thoughts aren't something to chase. They come with real cost to self-esteem, but the data makes one thing undeniable. Feeling like you might not belong doesn't mean you don't. It often means you care enough about the room to take it seriously. Now, here are 3 ways to flip imposter syndrome from something that paralyzes you into something that actually works for you. First, name it before it names you. The moment you notice the feeling, the voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" Say it out loud and write it down. Not to wallow in it, to catch it. Labeling a thought creates distance from it. You stop being the thought and start noticing it. I'm a fraud becomes, I'm having the thought that I'm a fraud. Those are 2 very different things to carry into a room. Next time you're walking into a high-stakes environment, a keynote, a board meeting, a new team, write down the specific fear before you walk in. I'm afraid they'll find out that I don't have all the answers. Get it on paper, name it. Now it's something you're carrying, not something you are. Number 2, use the doubt as a compass, not a stop sign. Imposter feelings tend to show up at the edges of your competence, not in unfamiliar territory, elevated rooms, situations where the stakes are real. That's not a warning you're in the wrong place. That's a signal you're in a place worth being. When that feeling hits, ask yourself, would I feel this way if the opportunity didn't matter? If the answer is no, the feeling isn't evidence that you don't belong. It's evidence that you do. And number 3, let the doubt make you better in the room. This one comes straight from the research. If imposter thoughts push you toward paying more attention to the people around you, listening harder, asking better questions, staying curious, don't fight that impulse. Use it deliberately. Before your next high-stakes conversation or presentation, shift the frame from, how do I come across, to, what do the people in this room actually need? Ask one more question than you normally would. Hold eye contact a beat longer. You'll be less in your own head. The room will feel it, and the performance that follows is one you won't have to convince yourself you earned. Look, imposter syndrome doesn't show up in people who don't care. It shows up in people operating at the edge of something that matters. Pick one of these 3 tips and run it before you walk in the door the next time and see what shifts. Your move.